Well, howdy folks. It's been a while since I have been in the kitchen. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Stuart and I cook, okay? So it's just that's plain and simple. Today I'm going to be making some charro beans, some of my pinto beans. And this is just a favorite dish of mine, and it's a dish that I like to share with people because it's very common to Texas. I mean, you come to Texas, people are going to talk about those beans, those delicious charro beans that they got at the Mexican place or at the barbecue place. Oh man, we know how to do pinto beans in Texas, let me tell you. And this is one of those recipes that you just can't go wrong with, okay? So let me tell you what I did. I took a pound of pinto beans. And put it into a brine. A gallon of water to a quarter of a cup of salt. So that brine, what it does is it breaks down the skin. Let me drain these. All right, usually when I drain these things, I like to give them a couple of rinses. Or just rinse them off in the colander. Now here's the thing, brining softens the skin. It basically etches into the skin is a neat way to see it. And I didn't know about this until a few years back when I was actually watching America's Test Kitchen. They were talking about these beans and how to make the skin softer, and they tried multiple different ways of cooking them. And they found that actually, if you'll soak them overnight in a brine, not just water, in a brine, that the skin itself will break down much better and be much softer and far easier to cook. So definitely give this a try. I tried it. I found it really did work. So I keep doing it. It's something that works, you stick with. We'll put water in here. Okay, I've got enough water in there to cover those beans by maybe a half of an inch, okay? I might be adding more water later. In fact, it's almost a guarantee. But for the moment, that's fine. Now I can get a small flame under this and get it to start heating up. And in the meantime, while this is doing its thing, I'm going to get out some stuff and cut it all up and put it in there. So. Now, charro beans is about the right seasonings and ingredients. Both. All right, now, seasonings that I will normally use in a dish like this. Okay, let me get those out. I've got cumin, and I've got paprika, I've got salt. Another seasoning I have right here, this is cilantro, okay, and I'm not going to cut it up right now, but I wanted to pull it out and show you. Oh, I love that. Cilantro, have this around and ready to go, because towards the end of cooking, you're going to take some of this and chop it up and put it down in those beans, and it's going to give them a really neat, robust flavor. It's a wonderful bittering herb, okay, and something that's just a part of this dish, all right? Now, other things that are a part of the dish, onion, jalapeno. Here I have an onion that I was already using, and there's enough there for this dish, so I'm just going to use that. This is one of those times where you can pull things out of the fridge and use up what you got in there. Let me get a bigger one. There we go. Got 3 large ones. Those are just plain old jalapenos, folks. And then here I've got some bacon. I want to be cutting up some of that and putting in there also. When it comes to that, you can use bacon. You can use pig shanks. You can use pig's feet. You can. There's a lot of different things you can use in here. Ham bones. You can use salt pork. This time I'm just going to use bacon. Take your pick. Put some pork in your beans. It makes them good. All right, a couple of things I want to mention. If you're going to work with jalapenos, especially if you're not really experienced with them, use some gloves, okay? the things aren't going to hurt your hands, okay? But here's the thing. The oleoresin that's inside of these things is going to get on your hands, and the next thing you know, you're going to be scratching your face 2 or 3 hours later and wondering why your eyeball is burning so bad. All right, it was these. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to reduce them to delicious green substance, and I do this by cutting them in half and taking out that core. Now, decoring one of these is not so difficult, ladies and gentlemen. So let me give you kind of the lowdown on this. And this is something, hey, believe it or not, I've had different ways of doing this. One of my viewers suggested to me once, hey, use a spoon, it works better. I'm Hispanic, my mom does it that way, and it works great. And there it is. It does work great, okay? So, hey, I learned from my viewers in addition to what I've already learned in life. I don't stop learning, I keep going at it, all right? Cooking is a fun thing that you can just never stop learning. There's always more. Okay, so I'll probably cut some of the video. I don't want you to have to watch all of this, but you're getting the idea. Now, you might wonder, why did I take the core out of those? You can chop the core up and put it in your beans if you want. That's fine. What I'm doing is I'm just reducing the overall heat from these chilies. Most of the heat resides in that little membrane that holds the seed to the core, and also the core itself. I just removed 90% of my heat. All right, now I just got the flavor. Wonderful. I'm gonna dice this thing up. All right, so core is out of the jalapenos. I just want to cut some little, anywhere from 1/8 of an inch to maybe 1/4 of an inch wide strips. And I want to use these to make some nice fine dice to go right down there in those delicious beans. Now, generally, beans are a fairly long cook, folks. It's going to take a few hours to cook them and get them soft. That's not unusual. And the neat thing, beans, A, nutritious, B, delicious, C, those are the items that really fill bellies and can make a big difference in a food budget and making people feel full and comfortable, and also providing very, very good tasting side dishes. There we go. Now, straight into the pot. That's just delicious food, plain and simple. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't always use a recipe. Like today, I'm not using a recipe. I'm just cooking, okay? That's all this is. Just plain, open, grab food and cook. And that's kind of one of the things I try to teach on this channel is independence in the kitchen. How to cook stuff up and not have to worry too much. Look at me throwing my food everywhere. Okay? Because once you know certain things about cooking, you know, as far as recipes and things like that, then you never have to wonder, gee, what do I put in it or how much? Because you just kind of get a feel for it, okay? And that's what I've done. I've kind of got a feel for how much of each item to use. And it can vary a little bit, okay? It's not like it has to be perfect. You can mix things up some. As I mentioned before, and you don't have to put any pork at all in there, but there's a lot of options. This is just one of them. And this is for flavor, okay? That's all it really does. It adds a whole lot of really good flavor to beans. I want to separate these. I want to cut them a little bit. I want to put them right down in there. There we are. And the nice thing about a pot of beans like this, as you've seen, I'm just grabbing stuff and throwing it in there. You don't have to be too exacting about anything. So, since the cilantro goes in later, no sense in having it out here. I want to keep it in the fridge. Now, something else that I like in my beans, and that is garlic. All right. And there's a couple of different ways we can go with garlic. We can use like a garlic powder, or we can just go with fresh garlic. But let me tell you something. Garlic powder and fresh garlic don't taste the same. The same way onion powder and fresh onions don't taste the same. So don't substitute one for the other. You can add, oh, that makes it taste good, but you don't choose one over the other, okay? Use them both. It's a good way to go. Now y'all are just kind of seeing the way I actually cook when I'm just cooking for myself. You know, normally I set up the scene and have everything all pre-done and looking nice for you, and so you don't see kind of this side of the whole thing. I don't know if you were paying attention earlier. I was taking these cloves and twisting them a little bit. That paper comes right off after you do that. Look at that. It's not hard to remove paper from a clove. Don't make it any harder than that. And for those of you who say, why did you show us that? Well, believe it or not, folks, there's some folks that watch this channel that don't know these things yet. And that's one of the reasons I like to point them out. On this, I don't need to do like a fine mince or anything. I'm going to just crush them and do a little once over with the blade just to kind of break them down a bit. Because after they're fully cooked into those beans, you won't notice but just some little white specks in there. There we go. There we go, sort of a coarse mince, right down in there. That was 3 fairly large cloves. It has come up to a boil. Reduce my temperature a little bit. And now it's time to get some spice in here. So, spice number 1, a little bit of salt. You don't have to put a lot in there. I'm going to start with a half a teaspoon. If it needs more later, I'll add it. Now, the paprika. Again, not a huge amount, but anywhere from 1 to 2 teaspoons is nice. That's about 1.5 teaspoons. And if you've got something like smoked paprika, hey, that'd be great in this. About 1 teaspoon of cumin. And remember, cumin is strong, so it's going to bring out a really intense flavor. Now I'm just going to give a light dusting with some of this garlic powder. That would be maybe 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon. And the same way with the onion powder. Right there. There we're cooking. And you've seen how long it took me to put that together, not including the soaking, of course. The soaking started yesterday, last night. Started at about, I think, 8 or 9 p.m. Okay, so this looks good, but boy, it needs a lot more water. So here I'm going to put in, starting with 1 quart of water. Let me stir this. Oh, that's beautiful. Right there. I put a little over 3 cups in there. And that looks like it's going to do me, but I'm going to add just a little more right there. And that's going to be the amount that steams off. Okay. Hey, this looks pretty good down in here. Okay, so there you have it. Thought I'd give you a good view. You can see the beans. We got those onions, the peppers in there. Spices are down in this. Folks, this needs time to simmer. It needs to simmer for a good long period of time. This is going to be a couple of hours in the cooking at least. I'll test it after a couple of hours. They'll either be ready or they won't. Okay, it's just that simple. And I'll show you what I'm looking for. It'll be the tenderness of the bean and certain colors and flavors, okay? Well, there you see how it was done. There wasn't really much to it, was there? Put my leftover jalapenos up. Everything is ready. I'm just simmering, or I shall bring this to a simmer. It's not far from it now. And as soon as it's there, I can just go and enjoy life for a few hours. Then come back and enjoy my beans later. Okay, now you've seen it. We'll take a look at them after they're done. And that's that. That'll be 2 seconds for you and a few hours for me. All right. I just checked my beans and they are ready. It has been about an hour and 45 minutes. Now I've got cilantro here. Delicious, yummy, wonderful cilantro. Now on the cilantro, this is something I really recommend, just making it very easy for yourself. All you have to do, you don't have to worry about stripping the leaves unless you're just wanting a garnish. Okay, generally when cilantro is used, we take the leaves and at the very tip, from the middle to the tip, fold over that leafy portion, okay? Just kind of get it all compact and in there tight. And we'll take our blade, and just kind of run across it and do a nice smooth chop. And I'm getting, of course, some of those stems too. That's not going to matter. That was as part of the plan, all right? Now, if I want some of the larger leaves that are left over on those stems, I could then bother with pulling a few off. All right, so here I have cilantro ready to go in. Now, let me tell you, don't put this in during the cook, all right? Just put it in at the end, stir it in, and let it flavor that dish. There we go. That will be its own wonderful, delicious self. And trust me, it's a winner. I do believe it's time to dish these up and enjoy them. Need to get a bowl real quick. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Look at that. Now something I want to mention to you is these beans are normally served with some of their juice. Okay, so enjoy them in that way. If you ever go to there's a lot of Texas restaurants that when they serve these, they're going to have a great deal of juice in the dish with it. So go ahead and enjoy that one little feature. It's worth it. Get a little bacon on there. I just like a little bacon. And there we have it. Beautiful bowl of beans. Well, I've been waiting for this. Oh, the thing of it is, for less than $4, here we have a delicious, delicious dish. A little messy. That's delicious. No, I'll tell you, the skins are completely unnoticeable now. The beans are actually tender enough that they pretty much just melt in your mouth. They dissolve the minute your tongue hits them and pushes against them lightly. They're just that soft. Fantastic dish. Give this one a try. It is so easy. Why not? And remember, it doesn't take a lot of work. Just throw it in the pot. Give it some time to simmer. It'll come out. Be patient. Thanks for watching, folks. Please click the subscribe button, the like button, and click the bell when you subscribe. That way you get notified when I post something new. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, okay?